Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am building another family home, and this time I am building here in the sort of rural area of Windenburg, and I'm building a very Merry Christmas house. Basically, it's just super Christmassy, and I just wanted to go all out with like the Christmas decor and Christmas colors and just make it feel warm and cozy and inviting. And I was kind of thinking of like holiday movies, how when you watch like a Christmas movie and whoever, you know, the characters are in the movie, their house seems to be entirely themed for the holidays. I wanted it to feel like one of those homes, and so I really just tried to have like the furniture to like the wallpaper to even like the counters and just everything just feel very Christmassy and cozy. So yeah, I hope you guys will like the build. It ends up having 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. There's also a garage, and there's a garden shed sort of thing, which I thought would be kind of nice to include. And then of course in the interior there's the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, and that's all not necessarily one space, but it's all in a similar area, and it feels nice and open, and I think it flows together really nicely. There's also like this sunroom on the back of the house where I put a piano and a gaming table, which I thought would just be like a nice little hangout area for the Sims. And here you can see I'm working on the front of the build. I still need to look at this house without snow because I didn't bother with any pathways or terrain paint, and I'm not really sure how the plants that I chose will look without the snow covering them. So it might look a little bit off in like, you know, spring or summer or whatever the season may be, even fall. I'm going to check it though in just like the default build weather, and if it looks decent, I'll definitely add terrain paint, and maybe I'll tweak a few things. We'll see. I really like the way it looks covered in snow, and that's like the main purpose of this house. So I don't want to change anything. So if it looks bad, I'm just gonna leave it, and then you guys can fix it, I guess, if you don't like it in like summer or whatever. But maybe you can pretend that your Sims live somewhere that has a very, very long winter, and then when summer comes, they can move. We could pretend that. But I also had to change the pitch of the roof line because I went to add lights on the house and they weren't appearing, and I always run into this issue. I guess I tend to have pretty steep pitches on my roof sometimes because whenever I do a holiday themed house and I want lights on the roof, they never appear. And if you ever run into this issue, all you have to do is change the height of the roof. So all I had to do was just drop it down a little bit, and then the lights appeared on their own. So yeah, thankfully I was able to make that happen because I really wanted there to be lights on the house for the thumbnail, just to sort of add to that Christmassy magic feel, basically. But over here is going to be the garage space. So this whole build was inspired by a painting that I saw on Pinterest. So I will put it up on screen so you guys can see what I was looking at. And I think there was some sort of shed or garage thing here on the left side in that painting, and it was white, so I added one over here, and I put these vehicles in the driveway. For some reason, that Range Rover sort of vehicle, it doesn't get snow on it. There's certain objects that I noticed that I would place in the snow and it would not collect any snow. So that was one of them, and it's just kind of strange. You would think everything in game would collect snow if it's outside in the snow, but there's certain objects that I guess just weren't programmed for it. So that's one of them, but the other truck is full of snow, so we can pretend that the Range Rover thing has just been recently driven, basically. So the snow has been melted off. And so I thought that was kind of a nice idea. And then I also added a ton of trees around, and I especially loved these like floofy evergreen trees that came with the werewolf pack. It's just, they're so pretty and so Christmassy looking, and they look just so cute. And so I put a few of them around the house just to sort of like frame it, and I thought they just really added to that Christmassy feel because you can still see quite a bit of the green. Like, they're not heavily covered in snow, and even the green doesn't really change too much, and it's an evergreen, so I think that's, you know, that makes sense. But sometimes there will be a plant where the green is still there, but it's just like a duller green. So yeah, that one was still vibrant, and it just felt really nice. But yeah, over here on the left side of the build is where I end up putting the garden house or garden shed. And you'll notice that I go through the live edit objects from Cottage Living, and I place some of the just live added objects ones, and I was thinking about just having a decorative garden shed, but then I figured why not build one, and I really ended up being very happy with it. So I'm really glad that I decided to do that. And so I put some like vertical planter boxes in there so your Sims can do some gardening in the winter time, which I thought would be nice, and this, you know, the plants will survive basically. And then here I'm just adding a little stone pathway leading from this side gate to the back porch area. I put a lot of fences on this lot, and that was something that I directly took from that painting that I was looking at, just because it looked like there was a lot of fenced in areas. And so I decided to have a completely fenced in front yard, this little side yard area over by the garage, and then I do another fenced in area, and I put a chicken coop there. I didn't add any chickens when I was taking the screenshots, and I normally do, but then I felt like maybe the chickens wouldn't have anything to eat. And so, I don't know, it just kind of felt weird. I mean, of course, your Sims would still go around and sprinkle their food for them, and they could eat that way. And I don't think the weather really bothers them too much. I mean, they might, or it might. I don't know. Let me know if you guys know that. But yeah, I still thought a chicken coop would be cute over there. And then I just really felt like this family enjoys being outside. And so that's why I want to include the garden shed and the chickens. And it just kind of added to that, like, basically like where you can imagine what they do during the summertime basically. And so I really like this area. And then another thing that I did on the landscaping was add a ton of rocks, and the rocks are what I'm most concerned about for the landscaping, because I added them to look like snow piled up, because the particular rocks that I chose are pretty much solid white with the snow covering them in their default color. They're a very dark gray rock. They came from Cats and Dogs, and I really like them because they just kind of sink into the ground really nicely, and plus they were completely white, so it really looked like snow was piled up in certain places. So it might look a little bit strange, but if you do decide to play in this build in the other seasons, maybe just delete the rocks and it should look fine, because I'm pretty sure the rest of the landscaping should look okay. I mean, I think it's mostly greenery. There's a few like hydrangeas and some red bushes and things. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, over here I do add a swing set as well, which I thought would be really nice. And originally I put a door over here on the side of the garden shed, but I decided to put a door at the front, which I thought would just kind of open it up a little bit. And I just thought it'd be nice to have a lot of windows in here. I didn't want it to feel like a greenhouse necessarily. I really just wanted it to feel like a garden shed. So I thought these windows were perfect from cottage living. Of course they are open windows, so the plants might freeze, but we can pretend that it was a warm day and the Sims opened them up just to get a little bit of a breeze inside the greenhouse for whatever reason. I don't know, I just really like those windows. I do wish they would have came with a closed version. The ones that I put at the front though with the shutters are also super cute, so if the open windows do bother you, then I would just use the other versions of those, because they're essentially the same window. I just like those little square ones. They're really adorable. And then there I thought about adding another one of those werewolf trees, but I didn't think I had another good spot to put it. I mean, I probably could have sized it down a little bit more. I sized it down as far as the game would size it down, but of course I have the tool mod by Twisted Mexi, which gives me a lot more control over scaling objects, and so you can actually make them smaller if there's a limit in game. So I thought about doing that and placing it somewhere else, but I don't know, I decided not to. And then here I'm adding some lights on the exterior. I added little lanterns around just to sort of brighten up the landscaping, because this is a pretty big lot. Like the house only takes up like a small portion of it considering, and yeah, I just think it turned out to be so just cozy and nice with all the lights and everything, especially when I get the string lights up on the roof and the fence and everything. But here I'm moving on to the interior. So for the interior, like I said, there's 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and then a pretty open living dining area. The kitchen is technically in its own room, and I mean, so are the living room and the dining room, but it's very open with archways. And then for the separation between the living room and the dining room, I used a spandrel and column, so it has a really wide open separation basically in between them. And then into the sunroom, I used that really beautiful door that came with the industrial loft kit. That's another thing that I wish we would have got a closed version of, because I always want to use it, but it's not always appropriate to have like an open door. So I don't know. I mean, I think it worked in this particular case, but sometimes I wish it was closed. And then here I'm picking out like the flooring and trying to get an idea of how everything's going to be laid out. So I placed the couches in here. I really wanted to have the Christmas tree by the window because I think that's just so classic. It's one of my favorite things during like the holiday season when you drive by somebody's house and you can see their tree through their window. It's so magical. And so I love it so much. Yeah, let me know if you guys have been decorating for Christmas, or if you don't celebrate it, if you celebrate another winter holiday, have you been decorating, and what sort of decorations are you doing? I'd be very interested to hear. And also just, I'm curious what you guys do during the holidays. My husband and I and our son, we typically go to Oregon for the holidays because that's where all of our family is. But this year we're staying home just because, well, it's expensive and we live farther away than we did before. And so driving would take us even longer, so we'd have to stay the night somewhere, and so we'd have to stay in a hotel, and then we could fly, but I don't know, it's just like, it's so complicated. And mostly, like, the biggest reason for me is our dog is very old, and we would normally take her with us, and we still can, but it's really hard on her to travel and to be in the car that long because she's 15 and a half, so she's quite old and quite uncomfortable. And yeah, I would feel terrible to board her because I just don't think that would be a good idea. So it's just not a good year for us. So we're staying home. And so we've been getting presents mailed to us from our family members, and we just have like a big pile of boxes, mostly like Amazon boxes. And so I really want to take everything out and then wrap them all so they're all pretty and wrapped underneath the tree, because my son was 1 last year for Christmas. And so he could like kind of open the presents, but not really. He really wasn't like strong enough or coordinated enough to like really rip open the presents. But this year he's going to be 2 on Christmas because he's going to be 2 in a couple of weeks. I can't believe it. And so he's like really good at tearing stuff now. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to have a lot of presents wrapped. Like my husband and I were talking that even our presents, like just let him open them up, let him go crazy with it. Cause yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But anyways, as I've been babbling on, I have a lot of decorations here in the living room, adding a lot of those Christmassy details with Christmas cards and nutcrackers. And the tree, I did have my sim go ahead and decorate this tree. There's a pre-decorated version that came from one of the holiday updates, but the one that I'm using in here came from Season, so your Sims can actually decorate it themselves, which is so cute. It's one of my favorite things in game, and it's one thing that I really enjoy playtesting just because the animations are so cute. Yeah, this one I kind of sped through. Normally I sit and watch them like throw the little decorations in the air and everything. And that is something that I have noticed with my toddler. He really likes to rip the ornaments off of the tree. I try to teach him not to. I put all of the ones that I don't care about at his level, so if they do break, it's not that big of a deal, but I've been trying to teach him that they stay on the tree, mostly because I don't want him to end up going to somebody else's house and like tearing them all off and like, break their special ornaments or something. But anyways, over here I'm adding some more Christmas decorations at the archway, which I thought would be really pretty to have those like garlands. And then on the dining table, I knew I wanted to have a bunch of decorations, so there's a pretty sort of like flower arrangement. I thought this one actually looked quite Christmassy. It's not intended to be a Christmas arrangement. It came from the Get Famous expansion pack, but I thought the colors with like the golds and the reds actually looked quite Christmassy, and even the oranges in it I thought looked kind of Christmassy, because sometimes you see like those orange garlands, like the dried orange slices, so it kind of reminded me of that. So I thought that worked, and then I just put some holly and candles and just tried to make it feel just special and extra decorated for the holidays basically. And yeah, I'm adding some more of these garlands on this side because the backs of them do look a little bit weird. Part of them like disappears at certain angles, so I didn't want it to look a little bit off basically. And then over here is going to be the kitchen area. The kitchen is a lot more cramped than I thought it was going to be, and yeah, I don't know, maybe I could have laid the counters out differently, but I really wanted there to be an island, because once I started placing the stove and then thinking where the sink was gonna go, I was running out of counter space. And so yeah, I put the island here, and it's kind of crowded over here where I put the coffee counters. And so if you do decide to play in this build and it feels crowded and your Sims are having trouble navigating, I would probably just get rid of the coffee counter and maybe move the island back like half a tile. And if you turn on the F5 key, that'll give you quarter tile placement with objects, so you can easily just snap them just a little bit over to the side. And that is something that I did not use for the longest time. Like I only recently started using that tool. And so it's like such a simple thing, just to, when you start building, click F5 and you have so much more control. I mean, I always use move objects anyways, but sometimes it's nice just to have objects snap in places better. But yeah, I would say that's a big tip of mine. And then there I just put some fruitcake on the counter. I almost forgot it, and that would have been like the biggest crime of the century, I feel, just because it's fruitcake and it's definitely iconic for The Sims, but it's definitely iconic for Christmas time. So I thought that was pretty perfect. And then over here, I'm going to decorate the sunroom. So like I mentioned, this is going to be like a little hangout room. I put a piano in here. I decided to create my own piano, sort of. I mean, I just used the keyboard and I put a couple of side tables together to look like it was a standing piano. And I've done this a ton of times, and I think it actually looks pretty good and it totally functions. I considered putting a grand piano in here, but the room was just not big enough for one of those. And every time I go to place a piano in like a family home like this, I'm like still surprised that we don't have a regular standing piano that came with the pack. I have a couple that are CC that I use on my CC channel all the time, and I love them. They're so useful for, you know, adding activities in certain places and just sort of filling in different areas, and they look cute. And I don't know, I'm just really surprised that we haven't got one in a pack at some point. So maybe, I'm really hoping that we're going to get another family themed pack around the time that infants are released, and maybe we'll get one then. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I just think this room ends up being so cute. And over here I do put a gaming table. I use the Don't Wake the Llama table that came from Get Together, and I use the version of it without the game on it, and then I placed this version of the game which has like a little like snow monster on it, which I thought was pretty perfect for like the whole theme of the build and everything. And then here I realized I forgot a rug under the dining table, so I quickly placed this one that came from Cottage Living. And then I also realized these slots on the shelf were empty, so I decided just to add a few clutter pieces. And then over here I have like I don't know what you would call it, the hallway area where you have like the entryway and then the hallway and then the other hallway leading to the bedrooms. Like, I don't know, this part of the floor plan I thought was kind of awkward, but I think I made it work with the way I decorated it and everything, and it kind of feels realistic. But I usually try to avoid this many hallways just because it's kind of dead space really in The Sims. But I still think it looks cute. So, and I really liked the plaid wallpaper. I felt like that was so extra for like the Christmas season. But yeah, over here is going to be the entryway. So for the entryway, I knew I wanted to have coats in here and shoes and really make it feel like wintry and everything. So I put a coat rack. I also put these coat shelves that came from, I think they came from Laundry Day. I mean, I might be mistaken. I think it's Laundry Day, but anyways, then I also put these shoes over here. I also put a shelf with some like dog collars, but I didn't add a food bowl anywhere. So if you do want your Sims to have a pet, then you'll have to add one. Yeah, I meant to, but I just kind of forgot about it. So maybe I will before uploading it to the gallery, and it will be on the gallery. All of my builds are on the gallery. I do get questions every once in a while, and my ID on there is SimLicy, and I am offering all of my builds early on Patreon now. So if you're interested in seeing my videos early and downloading my builds early via tray files, then you can do that on Patreon. So yeah. There'll be a link in the description if you guys are interested. Over here is going to be the bathroom, and I quickly decorated that other hallway. There's just like some artwork and lights. It's not very interesting, but I really didn't know what else to add, and I felt like just another side table with decorations really wasn't necessary. But I like this bathroom. I really like that I added a Christmassy themed rug in here. I placed the one that's just like flowers on it originally, or no, it's snowflakes, but I changed it to the presents one and I size it up, and it just feels so extra. And then I also put this side table over here and I add Christmas decorations on it. I was trying a few different things, and then I found these logs and I completely forgot that they existed. They're so cute and they have like candles in them, and I thought they were so perfect. So I just put them over here with a little nutcracker and this nice little vase with like these red stems in it. And so kind of look like berries, maybe like holly kind of reminded me of. So I thought that worked pretty well. And then over here are going to be the 2 bedrooms. So for the family living here, I really did not think too much about them individually. I mean, I kind of did, I guess, with the whole like gardening themed, so I think they like the outdoors and nature and those sorts of things, and they love living here in the countryside of Windenburg. But other than that, I didn't think about like their careers or other hobbies necessarily. I guess I put a guitar in the garage, so one of them maybe plays the guitar occasionally. I mean, they keep it in the garage, so I don't really know how often they play, but maybe they used to play and maybe they're going to take it up again. I don't know. But yeah, for the parents' bedroom, I decided to make the walls red in here, and I gave them a red and black plaid bed, and I also put another fireplace in here, and then they have these big green heavy drapes, and I just thought this was so fun. And then another one of these high back chairs, I used another one of these in the living area but in a different swatch, and I love those ones. I think they work so good in builds like this, and I don't know, they're just so cute. But yeah, over here I do have a dresser, and I put some Christmassy decorations up on top of it, and the artwork that I end up putting above it is the same artwork that I used in the living room that's to the left of the fireplace. But I really kind of struggled with picking out artwork that I wanted to use in this build, just because I don't know, everything is just, I don't know, that's like my biggest struggle with The Sims 4 is the artwork. And so I feel like even more so now that I've been building with custom content so much on my second channel, like there's so many good art pieces that are custom content. Like even then I still run into like every once in a while not finding like the right piece. I feel like that's just kind of one of those things that might be never ending, but especially the in-game art pieces I really struggle with. But anyways, over here is going to be the kids' room. So I decided to put 2 beds in here, and I just imagine they're either close in age or twins. And I just tried to make this room look cute, and it's green and red basically. And these 2 beds that came from high school years I thought were perfect for this theme, and they have hearts on them, and they're so adorable. And I thought they actually paired really nicely with this wallpaper, because the wallpaper has that same sort of like strawberry red color and the pink and the green in it, so I thought that worked really nicely. But yeah, in here I do have like a little reading corner, which I thought looked really cute because I used this cookie rug, and I thought that maybe it was like a Christmas cookie rug. And so I don't know, I had way too much fun with this. I think I don't know, I just absolutely love this build, so hopefully you guys like it too. And then here I completely forgot to use this mail rack. This is something that I told myself to use at like the beginning of the build, and then I just got building and forgot about it. But one of the letters kind of looks like maybe a letter to Santa or something. I don't know, maybe I was looking too much into it, but I just really like that item, and so I thought that was pretty perfect. But yeah, in here I do hang up some like debug objects from Seasons, so some like the kids' arts and crafts, and I just put them up on the wall. I wanted to include an arts and crafts table, and you'll briefly see me pull it out for a moment here in a little bit, trying to figure out where to place it, but I ended up not having like any room for it, and I didn't want to like move anything or get rid of anything just to place it in. So I guess if you really want your Sims to do arts and crafts, you could just pull it out quickly and have them do it like in the living room somewhere, or in the like sunroom or the hallway or something, and then you could just quickly like sell it or something. Yeah, here I'm just trying to see if it'll fit anywhere, but I couldn't find anywhere. You could always put it in the garage or the garden shed, honestly. That could work too. But anyways, the first room out here that I decorate is going to be the garden shed. So in here I put these vertical planters like I was talking about. I also put some window boxes on the inside, which I thought was pretty fun, and just added some like color in here, and I don't know, I thought it was really pretty. And then I also add the flower arranging table that came from Seasons, and then this decorative like potting bench that came from Eco Lifestyle, which is one of my favorite objects in the entire game. I love all of the details on it. It's so cute, and I love it so much. So I try to use it like any chance I get. But yeah, other than that, I just put a few decorative plants in here, and nothing too special, I guess. Oh yeah, I put this shelf over here, and I put it underneath the window. I'm not sure if it'll block the planter at all from being accessible, but if it is, I would just delete that object because it's not totally necessary. And I basically just tried to find a place to fit it. Here I really wanted to have a plant on either side of the door, but they were too close to the eave, and so it made the snow disappear, and then they just looked really out of place, so I decided not to. But back here there is a barbecuer and an outdoor dining table, and the barbecuer was another thing that I noticed that didn't have any frost or snow on it, which I thought was kind of strange, especially since it is like an outdoor object. You would think that it would have one. But anyways, I felt like the roof line needed a window right there. The painting that I was looking at did not have one, and so yeah, I don't know. I thought about it when I was first building the front of the house, but then I wanted to really stick to like the painting. But then the more I looked at the house, I definitely felt like it needed something there. And then I ended up adding one on the back of the house when I was taking the screenshots too. So you won't see it in the speed build, but if you're interested, it is in the screenshots. So yeah, there's probably enough room in the roof to make another room or two up there. So if you wanted to play around with that, that could definitely be a possibility if you wanted to have like a larger family in this build, or just some like cool attic space for storage, or like a playroom or something. I think could definitely be a possibility. But over here is going to be the garage. So for the garage, I really just tried to make it feel like a garage. And so there's the woodworking table, there's the trash cans in here, and then there I just added a couple of decorations in the house, like the aprons and the little hanging bag decoration. But yeah, this is pretty much it for the build. I'm going to add the final few decorations in here, and then yeah, we're on to the screenshot. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this build, and I hope you guys do enjoy the screenshot. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
The snow is falling down. I've been longing for this Christmas, when everyone's around to share this holiday. Yes, it's a time of happiness, a time of joy, but now this year is twice as special, 'cause I'm hoping for us to fall in love in this winter wonderland. Chilling by the fire as I'm trying to get your attention, giving you a smile. I can seem to look away. I might be crazy, but I think you feel it too. Like a vibration right between us with a beautiful two. Could we fall in love in this winter wonderland? Cold night, but I'm warm inside. Already said a little prayer that you will stick around. Is this year I'm really hoping for a kiss under the mistletoe? As hours pass by, all the stars shine much brighter. Or is it just your eyes that have lit something in me? I see you coming closer from across the room. My heart is pounding really fast. I don't know what to do. Could we fall in love in this winter wonderland? Cold night, but I'm warm inside. Already said a little prayer that you will stick around. Is this year I'm really hoping for a kiss under the mistletoe? Snow is falling down. I've been longing for this Christmas,